Hey, what up everyone, this is MandoAllDay back with another video. And in this video I'll be doing a build guide for Storm. I'll be going over which artifacts to use, medallion insignia, as well as go over the powers, talents, and traits. And at the very end, show you my rotation and give you some tips and pointers as far as how I was able to pass Cosmic Trial without using any infinity points. So again, this is my build guide for Storm, so let's get right into it. First thing we're going to look at are the artifacts. So the first artifact is Black Tom's Black Tom, I'm calling that, make it easier for me. I'm using this for the plus forward energy damage rating increase, deflect rating increase, and health increase. This is a really good artifact overall for any character's energy damage based, especially Storm, because again it grants you energy damage, deflect, and health. But also too, this grants me plus 4 energy, which her attributes are speed and energy. So having that on her, and this artifact is really good for her. Next is Advanced Reserve Electrical Generator. This increases your plus 2 energy, 54 Tempest, which is Spirit, Spirit cost reduction, defense rating, but also 2, when you critically hit, gain plus 3 Tempest on hit for 8 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. When you reach 3 stacks, you gain critical damage rating for 8 seconds. When you drop below 25% max Tempest, you gain 30 Spirit recovery for 16 seconds. So it's a bit of a lot of information, but in short, when every time you critically hit, you gain 3 Spirit, and then on the third stack, when you reach your third stack, your max stack, you gain critical damage rating increase. So it does pretty good, but also, as I mentioned, this grants you plus 2 energy, Spirit increase, cost reduction, and defense rating. So overall, this is really good for her. For Medallion, I'm using Ultron. I'm using this for the gain 2.1 Tempest when you hit, which is really good because you always want to, regenerate Tempest. 3% chance to fire a beam of burst for 11,000 energy damage when you hit with a range power, which is most likely going to happen. 5% chance to fire an infallible beam burst in the area in front of you for 11,000 energy damage when you hit with a melee power. She doesn't have any melee, so it's kind of irrelevant. But also, this medallion grants you health, energy damage rating increase, critical hit rating to energy attacks, plus 1 energy, and deflect rating. So this is a pretty good artifact medallion for any character that's range and energy based. So to me, this is really good because she's energy base and range. So this is really good overall, in my opinion. Book of Demonicas, I'm using this for the plus 3 to all attributes, and also you gain 30 plus damage rating for 3 seconds, and it stacks up to 25 times when you hit with a basic, which I don't think I am using a basic. I am using basic, okay. So perfect, this is really good because it grants you plus 3 to all attributes, and when you use a basic, which I do use, you gain 30 damage rating for 3 seconds, and it stacks up to 25 times, so you guys do the math. Next, I'm using a Scroll Energy Rifle Focusing Crystal. I'm using this for the plus 5 energy damage rating, critical hit rating, but also 2, recover 3.7 Tempest when you hit with an energy power. So overall, this is a really good artifact. For the Forge, 800 defense, and then I have it to where I gain 2 health and 2 Tempest when you hit with an enemy. And also increases my damage rating to range and melee powers. So again, this is not the ideal blessing. I would use probably the power of dupe or something else, but I mean, for the Cosmic Trial video, I use this, but again, I would definitely not use this. I will use power of dupe or something. And then for legendary, Cosmic Control Rod, I'm using this for the energy damage rating increase, regenerate 500 health when enemy defeat, 600 critical hit rating to energy attacks, gain 25 Tempest when you defeat an enemy, and plus 2 energy. So this is really good for all energy damage based characters. For Ring, I'm using the Industrial Seating Ring, and I'm using this for the critical damage rating increase, attack speed to range powers increase. When you hit with a range power, gain damage rating increase, critical hit rating to range stacks, and health. So overall, this is really good for Storm. And then for slots 1 through 5, I use all of her cosmic items except for slot 3. Slot 3 is a unique, but everything else is her cosmic items. For costume, I'm using Storm Asgard costume. Catalyst, I have it to where health on 150 health when you defeat an enemy, gain 418 health when you hit an enemy, which is good, regenerate 25% of your health, and 100 spirit when you use a medkit, which is really good, and plus 3 speed. Plus 3, and as I mentioned, plus 3 speed, which is really good because it helps her with the attributes, because her main attributes are energy and speed, so that's really good. And also 2, this catalyst cosmic, when you use a signature power,
lives are lost.
Gain 1000 damage rating for 4 seconds, which is really good. And then crafted affixes, critical damage rating as always. Mutation bonus, after being craft control, gain 2000 maximum health for 5 seconds. And visual is winter spotlight for 3 seconds when you brutal strike. Insignia, I'm using insignia of Eric O'Grady. When you critically hit, you and your allies gain 294 damage rating, but also this grants me damage rating to range powers and area powers. So this is a decent insignia, not the best, but it does the job for now. And then I got X-Men Blue Flourish, which I'll show you. And then for my pet, I have her to where I take 1% less damage from enemy melee powers, 1.7 spirit recovery per second, plus 2% critical damage rating, and plus 3 fighting, which I would have to reroll the fighting to something else because she is speed and energy based, so having that plus 3 attribute is kind of irrelevant, but this is what I use for now. And then for team up, I use King Thor. Alright, from the powers that I use, top to bottom, left to right. Did I use this? No, I'm trying to look because this... Okay. Sakawa Rush, movement. Hurricane Winds. Gale Force Winds. Elusive Shock. Sudden Tornadoes, which is my favorite. Storm Surge, sorry. Typhoon, which is signature. Infinity points, as stated, none were used. Hero synergies. Angela for the area damage increase and +1 speed attribute. Black 4 for the move speed and critical hit rating multiplier. Cable for the critical hit rating multiplier. Captain Marvel for the energy damage rating increase. Dr. Doom for the signature power damage increase. Iron Man for the range and energy damage increase. Rogue for the health on hit and 1 spirit on hit. Star-Lord for the critical hit rating multiplier to energy powers. Vision for the damage to increase damage to range powers and machines. And Wolverine for the brutal strike and brutal damage rating. So my rotation, it's really simple. It's not hard, but I'll go over them. So, she's talents and traits. See, I always forget talents and traits. Thank God I remembered right now. The talents and traits for the first row is I'm using is butterflies, hurricanes, wind power damage is increased by 10%. Sudden tornado summon an additional tornado. Gain a 50% chance when you hit with a wind power to summon a dust devil. Dust devil does damage of 5100 twice per second for 6.5 seconds. So with this trait, what this does is wind power damage is increased by 10%. So all wind powers, which basically is my build, have an increased damage of 10%. Also 2, sudden tornado summons an additional tornado, which is really good. So I believe it's previously it was 2, now it's 3. And then also 2, when you hit with a wind power, there's a possibility, a 50% chance to summon a dust devil with just a decent amount of damage. So again, what this talent does, it just increases my damage, wind powers, and summons an extra tornado for my, sudden tornado power. Second row is lightning tempest. While tempest surge is active, and I'll show you guys and explain to you guys what it looks like. Critical hit chance is increased by 3%, and the energy damage is increased by 2400 to 3700 per hit. So it's pretty good. And again, I'll show you what it looks like so you can see what I mean. Third row is Storm Vortex. Typhoon, which is her signature, damage is increased by 40%, which is really good, a good buff. And also 2, Typhoon now continually pulls enemies into its area of effect for the entire duration, which is really good, which if you watch my Cosmotron video with commentary, I mentioned that her signature power pulls all the enemies in, and then when you do that, then you can start activating your powers. Hence why I mentioned that, because of this. Fourth row is Hurricane Winds. Thundering Maelstrom transforms into Hurricane Winds. Hurricane Winds is a powerful wind power that knocks back all enemies, which again does a lot of damage, which I believe is this one right here, right? Yeah. So it does a lot of damage, and it does it knocks back the enemies, and as well as two. Well, I'll go over that in a bit. So this is what I used. And for the fifth row is for foreboding winds. Tempest generated rate is increased by 20%. Storm Surge no longer requires Tempest Surge, which is this power right here, to be active, and now immediately fills your Tempest meter, which I'll show you guys how it looks like. But its cooldown is not reset when Tempest Surge becomes active. Basically, what this does is this increases the generator for Tempest by 20%, and also 2 Storm Surge, which is this power right here. You don't have to be in Storm Surge to activate this power right here. Before you had to, which I'll show you guys right now. So you notice I can't activate it, but if I were to click on this, and now I can activate it. And so that's what it does, which is really good. And also too, when I activate it, it regenerates 100%. And it's a reset immediately, and it refills your Tempest meter. Okay, so that's what it does. Now the powers I'll go over really quick. So the first one, and this is my main spender, is Gale Force Winds. It does decent amount of damage, and it generates pretty good amount of the Tempest. That's my main spender. Second power is Elusive Shock. It does a lot of quite a bit of energy damage. This is a lightning power, keep that in mind, and a stun duration of 2 seconds. Sudden Tornadoes, which is my favorite power, does decent amount of damage, but it summons 3 tornadoes and a duration of 13 seconds, which is really good. Crashing Hail, another good power, does decent damage. It slows the enemy's attack and move speed by 50%. Okay, Hurricane Winds does a lot of damage, as you can see here, about 41,000 to 62,000, and the damage is increased by 5% of your max Tempest. So current bonus right now is 30%, meaning that the more Tempest, aka Spirit, I have, the more the damage is increased. That's really good. And if you notice, it's not actually, it's kind of grayed out. It's because in order for you to activate this power, you have to have Tempest. So keep that in mind. Storm Surge, really good power. It does a lot of damage. Summon 2 tornadoes, which is good, but it does a lot of damage, and is this critical hit chance of 100%, meaning that when you activate this power, it automatically does critical hit. It does a free duration of 1.5%, and yeah, so it does overall. This is a really good, powerful power to have. And then Typhoon Signature, it generates 100% of your Tempest. It does quite a bit of damage. It slows the enemy's move speed by 80%, which is quite a lot. Lightning powers deal 5% extra damage to affected enemies by Typhoon, which again, I'm only using 1 or 2 powers. I have 2 powers that are lightning. And yeah. And obviously the movement. So here we go. So the rotation. What do? It's really simple. It's not hard. As mentioned, this is my main spender, Gale Force. So this, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. Now, before I continue on, and there goes my tornadoes here. But if you notice here, this one's grayed out, and then if you read here, can only be activated while Tempest Surge is active. What this means is that this power, Hurricane Winds, can only be activated when this gets fully, 100% or 650 spirit. That's the only time you can activate this power, Hurricane Winds. And that's what it means by, these, what is it here? One, I'm trying to think of one that it said, maybe I am, or here, Surge Storm, yeah, no longer Tempest Surge. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's fully active. You can see what I mean. And there you go, right there. That's when it's full. See, that's full. It's full. Now you can activate it because now you're in Tempest Surge. So you can activate Hurricane Winds. But once it runs out, which I'll show you really quick, I can no longer be activated. See that? So my rotation is really simple. First thing you want to do is activate Tornadoes and Crashing Hail. Tornadoes, because they summon 3 tornadoes. Does quite a bit of damage, but also 2, they do decent amount of damage. But the good thing about that is that the duration is 13 seconds, and it does damage automatically. So you can just activate them, and it automatically does it. So I'll show you what it looks like. There's my 3, and again, you notice I just activate it and does it on its own. That's the first thing you do. Second is Crashing Hail. The good thing is the duration is about 6 or 8.7 seconds. Again, this one does is slows down the enemy's attack and move speed it does a decent amount of damage. But as I mentioned in my cosmetic trial commentary video, is that what you want to do, and it's kind of immature, but is you want to place the D. You want to place the D where the enemies are at. So just to give you an example, if the D's, these are the enemies right here. What you want to do is place Crashing Hell according to the area you're at. So for instance, if these are my enemies like here, I want to put one here, here, and here. That way it gets radius. See? And then you just keep activating it. Boom. See that? And the enemy, if the enemies were like this, all you do is same thing, but just split it. Here, here. See that? So to reiterate again, the first thing you do in my rotation, simple, tornadoes, and then place Crashing Hell. So something like this. And then main spender if you want. Crashing Hell again. Always do it twice. I would have a tendency to do just twice and just Crashing Hell. And then tornadoes. And then Crashing Hell twice. And then main spender. Again, it does a lot of damage. The damage over time in tornadoes, it just does a lot. Okay, that's that. That's my first rotation. Second rotation is simple as well too, which is Hurricane Hell. It does a lot of damage, but do keep in mind though, that Hurricane, I believe this one's it, right? No, it's this one right here. Do keep in mind that Hurricane winds, not Hurricane Hell, Hurricane winds can only be activated when you have Tempest Surge, but do keep in mind that when you activate this power, it actually not only stuns enemies, but it also pushes them back. So keep that in mind. So for instance, if you have here, let's just pretend the enemies are here, right? And you activate, and the enemies are here, and you activate tornadoes, and if you were to activate Hurricane Winds, if this is where you're doing all the damage, and you activate Hurricane Winds, there's a possibility that, well, most likely your enemies are going to be pushed back, and where they're not going to be in the area of damage you kind of place Crashing Hell and tornadoes. So you just get it. I'm just letting you guys know so you're fully aware of that, because this power does a lot of damage, but it does push the enemies away. So keep that in mind. Show you how it looks like. No, I need, okay. So rotation, simple tornadoes, Crashing Hell, main spender, then activate Hurricane Winds, and then after that Storm Church, and then do it again. Wind, Crashing Hell, and main spender. And you can activate again, Hurricane Winds, tornadoes, Crashing Hell. Very, very, very simple. That's really my rotation. And then the next portion of that is simple, is activate Exclusive Shock. I'm using this, I know it's not a wind power, but it's a lightning power, but honestly, I like it because one, it has stun duration of 2 seconds, which is not a lot, but it stuns the enemies. 2, it does quite a bit of damage. And 3, all you can do is activate it whenever you can, and whenever it's available. That way you can just do the extra damage. This is what it looks like. See that? So my advice to this power, and the reason why I'm not incorporating into my rotation per se, is because it's one of those powers you just, whenever they're available, activate it, and it just causes an enemy to stun and does quite decent damage. So how does it look like overall so far with my first rotation, which is Sudden Tornadoes, Crashing Hell, and then main spender, and then after that Hurricane Winds, and then Storm Surge, and then randomly Lift Shock. It looks something like this. Very, 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 there's my tornadoes. Very simple. This is for now. Very simple rotation, as I mentioned in my custom trial video. Alright, that's that. Now, what rotation do I do or use for my signature? Again, it's really simple, and as I mentioned in this talent right here, which is this one right here, Storm Vortex, the signature with this talent, it increases the damage of Typhoon, which is his signature, by 40%, or her signature, excuse me, by 40%. But also, 2, Typhoon continually pulls enemies into its area of effect for the entire duration. And that's good to know too, because with that said, is if, let's just say, and I'll show you guys again, if you started, you know, you've set it up to where you want to do damage here, what you do is activate your signature in the middle. That way it pulls the enemies towards that area, and you can just continue doing your damage and rotation in that specific area. So in short, you're kind of controlling the terrain. You're controlling the enemies to be in this particular area. That way all you can do from a distance is do your powers and just keep doing damage. And yeah, so it's really good. So I like this talent a lot, which is Storm Vortex. And the cool thing about this too is that when you activate signature, and again according to this catalyst, your damage is, after using a signature power, gain 1000 damage rating for 4 seconds. Which is good to know, because that way when you activate signature, you know, once you activate signature, it increases your damage by 1000. And if you have all your powers activated, and like your tornadoes and crashing hell, you know, elusive shock, and any of these two right here, which is Hurricane Winds and Storm Surge, the damage is going to increase a lot. And the good thing is that with certain tornadoes and crashing hell, it's always doing damage over time. So when you activate signature, you're automatically going to get that extra boost of damage from sudden tornadoes and crashing hell. And then when you main spender, so it looks something like this. Overall, how to incorporate my rotation and signature. Right there, tornadoes, hell, signature right at it, hell, lightning power. This is the big one right here. Pushes the enemies, tornadoes, this power, and you can just keep doing damage. And you notice it's just doing a bunch of damage, and that's the key thing. And yeah, that's my build guide for Storm. It's very simple, as I mentioned in my commentary. I like your eyes. Your eyes are awesome. But as I mentioned in my commentary, it's very simple builds, simple rotation, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. If you find this video useful, leave it in the comment section below. Any requests for characters, again, leave it in the comment section below. I know someone else requested Thor, as well as Ant-Man, a Magneto. Trust me, I haven't forgot him. I'm still working on him. And I just got busy this weekend. So yeah, I have another character lined up for tomorrow, which is Wednesday. But again, any questions, leave it in the comment section below. If you want to keep up to date with my videos, please do subscribe to my channel, because not only does it help the channel grow, but also means a lot to me as well. And yeah, that's it. This is my build guide video for Storm. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you find it useful. Alrighty, until the next one. Bye-bye.